Welcome to the Smack Happy Design Videocast, where we explore all things web and marketing. With your hosts, Nicole and Danielle.
Hi, welcome to episode number 21. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Danielle.
And I just want to remind our audience that we'll be taking some notes for you so you can just sit back, relax, and listen. And you can download those notes at smackhappy.com/videos. Today, our guest is Denise DeShetler, passionate health advocate, a bodywork specialist focusing on getting people out of pain. Welcome, Denise.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. So tell us a little more about yourself.
So I'm a body worker and educator. So what that means is I work with people helping them get out of pain, but I also bring a lot of education to the treatments to help them well after they're done seeing me.
Excellent. So we invited you onto the show because you've started your own video series, and I think there's a little bit of overlap with our audience. Like, we're trying to help entrepreneurs and you're trying to help health entrepreneurs, right?
Correct.
What do you call them?
Healthcare ultrapreneurs.
Healthcare ultrapreneurs. So we thought it would be a good idea to help you kind of promote that and, talk about the video series. So tell us all about it.
Okay. This is a project my colleague Marty Morales and I developed about 3 years ago. And I'm in it's my 9th year in my practice, and he and I both have a business background. And I won't lie, we had a lot of issues running our private practice. It was very challenging, and we never learned anything in our business schools that could help what we were dealing with. And anybody that's in healthcare, whether it's bodywork, acupuncture, Pilates, yoga, naturopaths, they don't teach this stuff when you're training for your craft. So we were really frustrated because we thought, we're definitely, ready to do this work. And we came up with a bunch of obstacles, and we started talking about it through the years of our challenges. And we found that it was very common amongst all practitioners, these issues. And so we wanted to do something about it. And so we created a video series to talk about literally what the challenges we've had and how we overcame them and how we can help other people do that.
I think that is so fantastic because for many reasons. So first of all, with any study of many of the different things that you can study, I feel like the business aspect of it is always left out. Mm-hmm. Right? Like you're never taught any of that real world stuff. So I think it's really great that you want to share that and, give that to other health professionals. Yeah. Because even you mentioned also that you in your business school studies. So how was it missing stuff there? Can you tell us a little about like the difference between what you're offering and versus like what you learned through your schooling?
Sure. Well, what I kind of look at it like this. Anybody that's primarily focused on their craft, I call it. So obviously I'm in the healthcare field, but it's a craft. It's a service that you're working on. So if you've ever thought about a starving artist, how difficult it is for an artist to sell themselves, that's exactly it, because you are first and foremost a practitioner. And you are, you're giving all of your glory to serve and help people by a way that fits best for you. And so that's your focus, and that's where your heart's at. And in business school, it doesn't talk about that. It talks about strategy, it talks about numbers, it talks about all these things that don't reach the heart in a way that if you are there to be a service of other people, it just doesn't touch on that. So what we have found is like, how do you bring a marriage between the business side and the practitioner side or the artist side? And that's what we had to battle. That's what we had to learn what to do. And so that's what this series is all about, is how do you do both?
That's really cool. And one of the things that comes to mind too about what you're saying is, how to kind of like make your passion meet the business side of it. And I think everyone probably has in their mind like how they would do it, but it might not be, I don't want to say right or wrong, because it's not really right or wrong, but the best way to do it might be different from how you're doing it. And I think a lot of people might even end up feeling like, I know from, the entrepreneurial past experiences that I had with myself, that, I can relate most to that is like, you just spend so much time just being like, I just care so much about this and I want to share this. But, you're doing it, you're working so hard. It's almost like you get burnt out when you don't have that direction of like where to go and like how to handle, the ups and downs of the entrepreneur roller coaster. And I think it'd be super helpful just to like know what to do up front, especially in, what you do with, helping people feel better, getting out of pain. The healthcare industry is, I think, something that is interesting right now too, because, I think a lot of people are looking for very individualized care. They want to feel like, and I can speak to this too. I mean, that's what I look for. So how do you find that person, and how do you get to that person who really wants to be like, I want somebody to care about this. I want somebody to care about me as a person and help me with my problem. And it just sounds like everything you do just does that. So that's really cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I think it's twofold. It's one, there are so many talented people out there, and they deserve to serve as many people that need them, and vice versa. People need to find them. So it's, if you're really good at what you do and you want to share that, it's like we want to help that. So why do you have to have a battle of running your practice to do that? And I think for me, it was, the big lesson, there's many big lessons, is, you definitely get in your own way. All these things that you had if you were working for someone else, those issues are magnified when you work for yourself. So, it's helping you get out of your way. And I think the biggest thing is mindset. And we talk about that a lot, but in a very practical way that isn't taught, in the healthcare, which is the mindset about business. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's like you kind of have to work on flipping the switch, and how can you be both?
Mm-hmm.
So duality. That's what I just keep thinking of.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So in your video series, tell us about like one of the biggest things, or one of the biggest topics that you focus on that you're helping another healthcare professional with.
Well, a big topic is money. So I think there's an issue where, especially if these series are very good for someone that is thinking about going off on their own. They've been working for other people and they want to go, independent, or they've been in business for a year or two and they're just like, it's just not going the way I thought. I'm thinking about throwing in the towel. So that's what this series is designed for. At least this first set of series is for that. So one of the things we talk about is money and payment and asking for payment, which is a huge obstacle for people, because you're like, I just want to serve people for free. Honestly, if we lived in that world, we would all be working for free. But it's learning about the value of how you can really help people and help yourself at the same time. Because I think the big issue when you're in healthcare services, a lot of people will just sacrifice themselves to help other people. So it's helping people through that.
I think it's definitely just like when you care about other people, you just want to just do that. It's really, there's a lot of similarities in our business too, where we're like, we really care about what we do and we're passionate about what we do. And I think at this point, we've really honed in on the process of the whole thing. But especially like when you freelance and like you said, you know, these people are transitioning maybe to like going out on their own, or, you know, they're like, I'm ready to throw in the towel or whatever. But, you know, the inspiration of it can come from like, well, you know, if you want to keep going, you have to also care about yourself and your situation. And, you know, I think when you have everything else set up, you attract people that understand that anyway. So, it's kind of like a whole, you know, comes full circle in the end. And once you get over that hump, I think it starts to get a lot easier.
I think you're right. I think
It's a pretty big one.
I know. For me, it was probably several humps. I won't lie.
Yeah.
That's why it drove me to do this, because
Yes.
I had a lot of humps.
Yeah. And I think, you know, money, it's a great topic because it is an awkward one. Like most of us have a hard time talking about it.
Yes.
And so I think that's a really great piece to kind of tackle, especially for someone who's starting out and does just want to give, because you're not going to survive that way if you just keep giving and you don't have you can't feel bad about asking for the money, right? And I think that sometimes that's what happens, because you know that, okay, maybe your customer or client, you know, they don't have a lot of money, but you want to help them anyways, but you know, they need you and you can make it better for them. So that's really an interesting area for sure.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So what made you decide to do this series in the first place?
Well, like I said, my colleague Marty Morales, we were just having conversations because he's also an educator. He actually started his school, which I've trained under, the Morales method. So I think it's, you know, when you're constantly working with people and you're constantly learning as yourself, you're like, oh, what's missing? How else can I help people? And what are my biggest challenges? And I think that was it. I think it was more of a conundrum. I don't understand why I feel ill-equipped to do this job. You know, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And then I just started having conversations about it with people. And then I started actually lecturing. I started giving lectures on things that I've learned. And I was like, it was very well received. And it was nice because it wasn't just body workers. There were people all over the board that were at these lectures. And I got great, you know, compliments about that. And I thought, wow, this really speaks to a lot of people. My issues are similar to other people's issues. And it's like, okay, they're all battling the same thing. I thought, okay, there's this common thread here. And I've done research and I was like, wow, people aren't really talking about it this way. So that gave us the idea of we should do this. And the other approach was that, you know, he and I are peers, and we do the video series speaking to our peers. So it's not like a lecture, it's more of kind of what we're doing right now, a conversation between two people talking about topics that were big issues and giving our advice on those.
I'm just going to nerd out for a second because I love when I hear similarities in between all of the conversations that we've had over the last year. And one of them that speaks so much is what you just said, is like just telling the story and being honest and sharing your experience. And it's surprising how many people, you know, relate to it for many different reasons. You know, not even the reason that you like speak about it. Maybe it's someone who wasn't even thinking about what you were saying, and now they're like really turned on to the subject, or they're like, wow, I have a friend I could share this with because this was such a cool story or like experience. I don't know, but that's really neat that's, you know, how that kind of started is basically your, you know, your honest experience of what you went through and your colleague as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. No, it does feel good. I think that's why I like it. It's just like, it's very real. And why would I not want to share that with other people? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So where's the video series at right now? When will it be available for people?
So we want to launch October 1st, and you will find it on the platform Teachable.
Okay.
It's teachable.com. Yeah. And it will be hosted under the Morales method because that's a school. So you should be able to find under there, and we'll have it launching in October.
Great. Yeah, we'll include that in our notes so people can easily find it. And is there anything else you want to tell us about the series before we start to wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, I might be a little silly, silly in some of it. So if that doesn't turn people off, I don't know. But no, I mean, we really hope that this, the right people find it. It's just, my God, if we had this starting off, that would have been fantastic. So now we're hoping that there's talented people that could do great things with their craft, can learn from this and do a good job. So that's the hope.
Yeah, it'll be really great to see how it grows and blossoms into something that really helps people. And I hope that as people, take the course and learn, that they give you the feedback, because that's also,
Yes.
really rewarding to know that you've been helping somebody.
Yes, that would be great. Any feedback?
I go by my gut feelings on like pretty much everything, which can be a good or a bad thing, but it's never steered me too wrong. And I have a good gut feeling about your program. I think it's going to do really well.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, your heart's in the right place, so how can you go wrong with that?
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun doing it. Like the topics that were coming up, I'm like, yeah. And then we would like go through editing and we're like, oh, what she said, that was awesome. So I'm like, the fact that like over and over, I still like the message. I mean, I'm geeking out on that, but hopefully at least once that'll hit for people,
Yeah,
For sure.
Mm-hmm. So tell us what inspires you.
What inspires me? I love to see anybody in their element. When they are, like not they're blissed out, that moment where they're just heightened and everything else disappears because what they're doing is so them. It's like at their highest point, their blissed out state. So that could be, I love to dance, for example. I love the way it makes me feel, but I get turned on so much by watching somebody that's dancing as if no one's watching. They don't even have to be fantastic. It's like, oh yeah, they're feeling it. They're feeling it. And I love that in anything, whatever that means to that person. It's like, when you can just see someone and they're like, oh, they're at that moment. They are like on top of the world in their life, And it's not like their most successful state. It's like an element of like state of mind where they're just like, yeah, this is my jam. So that inspires me so much, seeing anybody like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah. I also love being in that state. That's pretty awesome. But I call it the flow. The flow.
It's nice, like when you get, you know what I mean? Like when you get there, because a lot of times you're just not there, like just with practical everyday life, like it isn't really designed to like allow you to be there. So like when you're in that state, like you said, it feels good, it looks good, and it's just a good thing all around.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I feel like if I see someone in that, as in their jam or their element or their zone, or the flow, it's contagious. It's like laughter to me. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then it makes me like want to step up my game in a way of like, oh my God, how often am I getting in that zone? So it's like, it's truly inspiring. And then I think when I'm in it, I just don't think about anything else. So it's just like, oh yeah, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, very awesome.
Yeah. All right. So thank you so much for joining us today, Denise. Can you please let our audience know one more time where to find your series on October 1st, and then how to get in touch with you?
Okay. So the series, that's a healthcare Ultra-preneur, will be found on Teachable, and it should be under the Morales Method School. I work downtown San Francisco in the James Flood Building. That's 870 Market Street. I'm in suite 557. So yes, if you are dealing with any pain issues or reoccurring injuries, I'd love to help you out so you can get your life back and have more of those blissful moments that we were talking about. Yeah.
Sounds awesome. All
More
right.
dancing, basically.
Yes.
We need to get out of pain so we could just dance all weekend.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you to our audience for joining the Smack Happy videocast. We aim to help elevate your business through real life experiences and advice.
Until next time, see ya.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Smack Happy Design videocast. For more information and downloads, visit smackhappy.com/videocast, where you'll find more episodes and the opportunity to subscribe on YouTube or iTunes. You can also sign up for our newsletter delivered to your inbox monthly. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and colleagues. Again, that's smackhappy.com/videocast. See you next time.